welcome back to the channel. All golfers, whatever level, want an efficient, powerful backswing. And what do we need for that? We need to be able to move around the spine, we need to be able to stabilize the body, and basically create the patterns that you need for the best swing possible. So, straight up, very simply today, we're going to look at 3 stretches that are going to increase your range of motion, enhance your joint stability, and allow you to create the position at the top of the swing that you need to golf strong. So our first stretch is going to be the lion cross body separation. So here we're looking at the ability to separate the upper and lower body, which is huge in the golf swing. You think about the kinematic sequence, the so-called X factor. The amount of separation you can create between your upper and lower body is going to have a direct impact on your ability to create speed and therefore distance. All right, it's also going to be a massive part of your long-term golfing health, because if you can stack the body in the correct way, then create optimal movement, you get the stability and you get that range of motion. Okay, so very simply, obviously all these movements always work both sides. You don't just work your golf side, always work both sides. But here, you're going to take that lion position, you're going to let the leg go up and over, take the opposite arm, hold behind the knee, and then your trail side arm is going to start at 90 degrees. Okay, what I want you to do from here is you're going to open out the arm and try and get the back of your hand flat to the ground. One key thing here, and with all elements of mobility, is to breathe through the motion. Big deep breaths, allow the CNS to relax, increase the range, and allow the muscle to function the way that it should do. So, movement number 1, we looked at static range of motion and that big separation of the upper and lower body. Movement number 2, the split stance T-spine rotation is going to follow on from exactly that, looking at the stability of the lower body and movement of the upper body in a more dynamic pattern. Okay, so if you can keep the trail knee off the ground, do so. Adds a little bit of stability and balance to the lower body. If you need to rest it, that is cool, guys, all right? But here, we're looking at stabilizing the hips and then really working through the thoracic spine. So that's the middle of your back, lots of musculature in there, and a massive number of people have movement issues, have some kind of issue with the T-spine, okay? Typically, we're all sat down more than we should be. We're all using phones, computers. We get that slightly rounded spine, we lose our posture, and the ability to move through the thoracic spine the way that we want to is gonna be lost to some extent, okay? So creating a solid posture, good positioning, and then the ability to rotate through that thoracic spine is gonna be huge for all your movement patterns, your posture, and definitely your golf swing. Okay, so from here, you're going to get yourself set in that split stance, and you're going to take the arm under the leg and open up big, wide circles, guys. All right, so really try and find that big range of motion. Work on the underside and open up, really working around the spine. Always be mindful of how you do stabilize the spine in any pattern, because the more that is in position, the more stable it is, the better your rotational capacity, your movement capacity will be. Okay, so again, work both sides, really work through the range, feel this movement, and stay stable to the ground. So, we've looked at static range of motion, we've looked at separation, and we've looked at dynamic rotation. Our final and third final movement is going to be the bird dog extension. Okay, so here we're looking at organization and stability. Okay, because stretching is beneficial without question. However, you have to be able to use that movement capacity, stabilize the joint to actually see a performance benefit. Okay, so that's what we're looking at here. And this is a really good process for any part of the body. Static, dynamic, stability. It's a great way to actually apply these movement patterns and improve your game. Okay, so here, you're going to go into an all-fours position, create that neutral spine straight away. Okay, not in too much extension, not in too much flexion. So basically, nice and neutral. Okay, stabilize the core, and then from there, you're going to take your a single arm and the opposing leg and work to full extension on both sides of the motion. Okay, so you're reaching forwards with your arm, reaching back with the leg, and you're trying to get as flat and as extended as possible. Hold at end range just for a few seconds each rep. Stay balanced and do not allow any wasted movement throughout this movement. All right, so as we said here, this is all about core stability, spinal positioning, and then the ability to work the extremities with balance, coordination, and great levels of stability. So that's your process to create more rotation and a longer backswing with 3 awesome mobility exercises. So let's talk about the swing and why that's going to work. All right, so as we said right away in the video, in the movement patterns, we need to be able to separate the upper and lower body. So starting out, the hips are going to rotate, but they're not going to rotate as far as the upper body. And that is where the key really comes in, because then once we have that rotation of the hips and the stability of the joint, we can then continue to rotate the upper body, and that is where the power and that long, efficient backswing is going to come from. Okay, so where your arms get to in the swing really is up to you, but we have to be able to create a full body turn if we're going to optimize our power output. So as we go, you're going to let that trail hip load the glute and work against the foot, so you get that torque, you get that really good pressure and ground force creation. Okay, from there, we're looking to turn the torso basically as far as we can. And the ability to do so is going to come down to the spine angle and the thoracic spine we just talked about. So we stabilize the trail hip, we turn, and it's this position here where the whole body's working the way that we want it to. We've got stability, we've got torque, and then you've got that rotation working through the T-spine to give you that big, long backswing. So as we look up, that's the position we're looking for. And the really cool thing is that when you get this pattern of movement correct, and your body is happy in that stable, powerful, and efficient rotation, your downswing is more or less going to take care of itself. Because once we have stabilized around the joint, the muscle is working, it's contracting. So it's going to be in a good solid position, guys. All right, so once we get into there, basically all the muscles are working up and up and up. They get to a certain point, they want to go back to where they're usually at. They're going to fire in the opposite direction. So once we start to load, we're getting all this power. So we're loaded on the trail side, we're loaded on the lead side, and then we get that push-pull into the swing that is going to create the most powerful and optimal motion possible. Okay, so exactly the same structure as we talked about with the mobility. We need upper and lower body separation. We need to be able to go through awesome ranges of motion, both for rotation and general movement capacity. And then we need the stability so that when you start to put on the power, it's go time and you can deliver some awesome club head speed. All right, so these are 3 simple movements you can use to improve your rotation and your capacity to create an extremely good, powerful backswing, which is always going to lead to a pretty good downswing. Okay, so there's much more to come here, guys. All right, working on your mobility, your movement patterns, and then your golf fitness is going to be hugely beneficial to your play on the course and your lifestyle off of it. Okay, so tell your friends, subscribe to the channel, and as always, make sure you go and get the GOLFWOD app for some free mobility and so much more. This is the strongest movement in golf.